Metal detector screens, can they really offer an advantage? Well, in this video I'm going to be using the Minelab Manticore because I think it's got the most advanced screen in the business. Everything on this Manticore screen makes perfect sense. The target ID numbers are big and bold, so when you're detecting and you get a target, you look down and you can quickly, at a glance, find out what the target conductivity is. And for some people, that's all they need, but there's a lot more to this screen, so let's get into it. As you can see there's hardly any deviation to the target ID and this cursor, and it's sitting exactly in the center of the non-ferrous line. So we've got 3 ports of call here. We've got the top ferrous bar, we've got small to medium ion rejection, non-ferrous all along here, 0 to 99, and ferrous rejection at the bottom for larger ion. But that there is a textbook signal. We've got a depth meter, battery indicator, favorite program, which is general, multi-IQ, and our sensitivity. Now for deeper targets, this cursor will lose its opacity. So a strong target, it'll have a strong opacity. A weak target, it loses its strength and indeed size. Well, I can see why some people are getting confused with some of these target IDs, but I think the Manticore's doing its job. It's really us guys who aren't understanding the signal correctly. Let me introduce you to eddy. Well, more to the point, eddy current. Just quickly touching on here how the 2D coil works. You've got 2 windings, a transmit on one side and a receive on the other. So the machine transmits the signal and it receives the signal on the other side. So in between, hopefully you'll receive a target, and if that's a perfect target like a coin laid flat, the signal hits a coin and causes an eddy current, which is like a whirlpool, and it comes back, necessary information goes to your screen. But that's the perfect signal. What if it was a coin on edge? The signal hits the coin on edge, the eddy currents are disrupted, sends the information back, so you're not going to get a textbook target. What about things like fibulas which aren't round? How does the machine deal with that when it comes to eddy currents? In addition to the cursor, you will also see a target trace. Some people call it the smudge. Now this indicates impurities to the target. The smudge can appear horizontally or vertically. So I guess now it's time to consult the board of wisdom. Is a test board, a little bit Heath Robinson, but you'll understand. Okay, ring pull. Come from a different angle, and you can see there we're getting a bit of a smudge, aren't we? And this is all down to that eddy current. It's hitting different angles. This visual ID map with multi-layers of information, also known as a 2D mapping screen. Try and look at a multi-layered screen as a multi-layered cake, and each layer has a function. Now one really cool function is the colour screen. Now if you're surging in all metal and you get a ferrous target, you get a red number come up or a red line underneath the number, depending how you set it. And when you're surging in the beach modes, you get a blue line come under the number to indicate you're searching an area of high salt saturation. Now it wouldn't surprise me in the future if when detecting on your birthday, all the numbers were gold. You heard it here first, guys. Now this is going to be an interesting one because it's iron, but it's kind of round and it's got a line through the middle. Now what will the Manticore tell us on this? Here we go. We're getting the red line underneath the target ID, but look at the cursor. It's saying yeah but no, but yeah but no. So it's actually telling us the truth, isn't it? And we've got a smudge at the top there, so a part of it is saying I'm 100% iron, and another part of it is saying, hang on a minute, I am round. Interesting. In fact, at times it's being too accurate. It's giving you too much information. It's being too honest. Okay, we've got a piece of horrible tin now. Let's see what the Manticore does over this tin. Look at that, 100% confident. That is iron. Top of the screen, no doubt about it. Now if we hit the horseshoe, now we're using discrimination, and we won't hear that at all. But I choose to use an open screen so I can hear the iron. There's several different adjustments you can make to this ferrous bars, but I think we'll leave that for another video if that's okay with you guys. Now here's an interesting one. It's a Roman fibula. Now obviously it's non-ferrous, but it's not round. It's not a textbook target, is it? And there's that smudge. It's telling us it's a digger, but she's not a coin. Well, she could be a coin on edge. So if you want to hone your Manticore skills, why not sign up for one of my one-to-one tuition days? Or you may be thinking about buying a Manticore and you want to try before you buy. The links are below or on the Skills School website. Let's test your skills on this one. Okay, it's a coin, it's a round coin. It's laid flat, it's in the textbook position. What's going on now? And what's that screen telling us? It's saying, well, hang on, we're starting off on the non-ferrous line, but we're gravitating towards iron. I think you guys have guessed what it is already, haven't you? Now that is a coin, it's a modern coin with an iron core. So if you were searching beaches and you wanted to find these sort of things, you just adjust that ferrous bar to accept that range. See where it's the darkest? You just notch it up. Like I say, a video for another day. Now we've got an interesting one. We have ferrous next to non-ferrous. How do you think the machine's going to respond to this? Ferrous, non-ferrous. We've got two cursors, but we've got two confident cursors, haven't we? Look at that. So you can actually separate the two targets. What if we moved them just a touch closer? Look at that. Still telling us, yeah, we'll have some of that. What if we hit discrim? So we've taken the iron tone out of the equation. Push our luck a little bit more. Well, what can't speak can't lie. I think that's pretty impressive. Now, I'm not a massive fan when it comes to spending time analysing meters. I tend to use audio only if possible, but I can see where these meters will come in really useful on the worldwide detecting stage, for example when park hunting. But I always say to my clients when I'm doing a one-to-one training session, the spade's your best discriminator, so if in doubt just dig a little bit out and sometimes you'll be surprised. And another quick top tip here, when it comes to identifying iron, always try and pinpoint it correctly. Get right over the top of the target before you make a decision. And sometimes you can use the pinpoint button to get an exact center, because very often if you're off the edge of iron, it gives a good signal. So just make sure you're over the top of it before you get an advanced meter reading. And as well as getting over the top of the target, Another top tip is to make sure you've got the right sweep speed to give you the best information. Sometimes you can sweep over a target when trying to analyze it. You can sweep too slow, you know. Now, if you want to watch some more in-depth videos on this Minelab Manticore, why don't you go over to the Crawfords YouTube channel where they've got some great content. I'll post the links below. Okay, let's really put this to the test. Now that is a big piece of iron, and that's going to saturate the signal from the coin. So whenever you've got two targets, the target ID and the tone will always be drawn to the strongest target, the strongest signal. So I'm guessing the signal will gravitate towards the iron, but there may be a little bit of something in the equation non-ferrous. Let's give it a try. Open the screen up again. Look at that. Discrimination. So when it comes to the cursor, the textbook signal is always a dot in the middle. That simulates a coin which is laying flat. No, that's not always the case. Sometimes you can get some misshaped metals which are not round. But if the metal is pure, you'll still get a really confident cursor. That's a perfect target. Now what's that telling us? Look, it's exactly in the center. There's very little smudge with that. Virtually no target trace. Look how dry the ground is. So that wasn't very deep at all, that one. Just a piece of non-ferrous there. Still give a perfect cursor reading. Okay, what about two coins with two different values? So we've got a big high conductor and we've got a low to mid conductor. Clearly see on the screen we have two tones. Now this would probably be a good time to talk about the Manticore polyphonic tone. So the polyphonic tone, I was going to cover this in my sound video, so this is just a very brief one. The polyphonic tone allows you to hear two different target tones without one of them dropping off. So you can hear two tones on top of each other, which is what makes this sound quite unique. So I hope you're beginning to understand the complexity of the Minelab Manticore meter information. Try and take into consideration the environment you're searching and the construction of the metal. I think a good example is if you're searching a Roman site full of iron. What's the chances of having a target which is not next to iron? Pretty slim, I should imagine. Well, that's it guys, I think we better wrap it up now. Thanks for watching part one of my 3-part Manticore series. I think next time we'll be talking about a simple setup which works on most land. See you then, bye bye.